What's up, y'all? It's your girl CJ. Welcome back to another video. We're doing another reaction to the hometown tragedies. As you can tell, I am super invested and immersed with them. Let's just jump right into it. I got my coffee ready. I'm ready to go. All right.
They are living the life on the outside of what seems to be a healthy, happy teenager.
Tonight is the night. It's now or never.
But instead, they also have these demons.
Hang yourself, jump off a building, stab yourself.
60,000 text messages between the two.
Every turn of the story is always in the headlines.
A, quote, systematic campaign of coercion.
I just don't understand how somebody can do that.
We'd never seen a case like this. Mattapoisett is what we call off Cape. It's just off of Cape Cod. It's coastal.
Mattapoisett is a sort of a quintessential New England beach town. It's a very friendly town where everyone seems to know each other.
There's a lot of fishermen. A lot of the fishing industry is there.
Conrad Roy is a teenager who grew up in Mattapoisett, Massachusetts. He comes from a working class family. He has a mother, Lynn, who was a hospice nurse, and two sisters, and his father, also named Conrad, owns a tugboat business.
His entire family was involved in the fishing industry, so it was really in Conrad's blood. And that's not surprising considering the community where he comes from and where he grew up. He played baseball. He was living the life of what many teenagers would live in Massachusetts. His parents were divorced, but they still were in his life, and he was still very much in their lives.
Conrad's social anxiety and depression definitely flared up when his parents divorced when he was 16.
Hi, this is Conrad Roy. I've created a monster out of myself the past few years because of my depression. Racing thoughts.
Conrad recorded a video once where he's just speaking to the camera. And throughout the video, you can see he's at one point positive and then almost immediately turns negative. And then you can see how he tries to fight himself out of that dark hole. So he was very troubled, but he also, on some levels, seemed somewhat hopeful that he could cope with it. He said, "Happiness is conscious thoughts. It's as though he knew that you had to work to be happy."
That is true.
Conrad has a difficult
Happiness, I tell my friends all the time, happiness isn't a destination, it's a feeling. It's all temporary, just like being sad throughout the day. Like, it's temporary. Emotions come and go, so just ride the wave, you know? Feel your emotions thoroughly, too.
time at school. He says he's very lonely. He says he has a difficult time making friends. And in the midst of these mental health struggles, he asks his mother if he can switch schools, hoping that that will lead to a more peaceful time for him during high school. Ultimately, switching schools is not a success, and he takes a sabbatical and works with his father on the tugboat. After the sabbatical, things generally seem to be going better for Conrad. He graduates high school, he gets his captain's license, and his family believes that things are improving for him.
Conrad and Michelle, they meet in Florida when their families are on vacation in sort of a random connection where someone that, the family that Conrad is staying with knows the Carters, and that's how they meet. Michelle is from Plainville, not on the coast, more of a bedroom community, bedroom suburb for Boston.
It is a white, middle to upper class neighborhood in Massachusetts. Michelle plays softball, and she has a few friends on the team there. The few friends that she does have say that she texts them a lot, she's very needy.
Michelle Carter had her own mental health issues. She had an eating disorder, and she sought treatment and got treatment for that. And so Michelle and Conrad seem to have this common characteristic where they are living the life on the outside of what seems to be a healthy, happy teenager. But instead, they also have these demons. They live probably about 45 to an hour separated from each other, so it's not like they would necessarily cross paths here in Massachusetts.
Their relationship largely plays out online. They met a handful of times, but most of their interactions are via text message.
They have these issues that each deals with, and that's what they share, and that's what they talk about. And Michelle is supporting Conrad by having him talk about what's bothering him and his depression and why he feels that way. And to a certain degree, she understands.
Conrad and Michelle communicate quite frequently, and he expresses to her that he feels like a bit of a failure. At one point, Conrad compares him and Michelle to Romeo and Juliet, and she says something along the lines of, "I would love to be your Juliet." And when Conrad asks her if she remembers what happens at the end of that story, she is taken aback and says, "Absolutely not. We're not going to die." On July 12, 2014, Conrad begins his day by going to the beach with his mother and his sisters. And while he is moving about his day, he's texting Michelle several times throughout the day.
It's in the evening hours that he ends up in the Kmart parking lot in Fairhaven.
At that time, he is still texting Michelle. He's saying that he wishes she was there, and she's telling him that she wishes she could be there to hold his hand and tell him that she loves him. And then at some point during the evening, he gets out of his car and calls Michelle 2 times.
And at one point, she realizes something's gone wrong. She starts to reach out to his family, first to his sister and then to his mother. Where is he? Have you heard from him? Do you know what happened? I'll help you look for him.
What happened?
The next morning, Conrad isn't at home.
It's the next morning where she says, "Conrad, I love you so much. Please tell me this is a joke. I'm so sorry. I didn't think you were being serious."
And police find his pickup truck in the Kmart parking lot. Conrad is dead.
What? What happened?
Roy's body was found in his pickup truck in the Kmart parking lot in Fairhaven. His phone inside, along with a gas-powered water pump.
When police found Conrad, they began their sort of cursory investigation of what seemed to be a straightforward suicide. There are a number of text messages between Michelle and Lynn Roy and Michelle and Conrad's sisters, where they talk about his death.
In the weeks following Conrad's death, his girlfriend reached out to his grief-stricken mother via text. "You did not fail him, not even a little bit. He had his mind set on taking his life. There was nothing anyone could do to save him, no matter how hard they tried. If anything, it's my fault, and it's something I'll never forgive myself for."
At the time, I believe the family did not realize perhaps the extent of the relationship between Michelle and Conrad, especially since it was happening digitally.
Michelle has taken on this persona of the suffering girlfriend who was left behind. The boyfriend committed suicide, and now she's left heartbroken.
Michelle organizes a fundraiser for Conrad called Homers for Conrad. And it's a bit odd because the fundraiser actually is set in her town of Plainville. At some point, someone asks Michelle if they could move the fundraiser to Mattapoisett, and she seems very defensive over it, as if someone is trying to take the idea from her or take credit for the fundraiser. And at the fundraiser, many people report Michelle being very happy and being the center of attention. A few months after Conrad's passing, police show up at Michelle's school and request to see her phone, which she turns over to them. Police find upwards of 60,000 text messages between the two.
I was scared because he attempted suicide before.
Right.
And so I knew that, I just had a feeling that no matter what, I feel like it was always on his mind.
Police have been looking through Conrad's text messages, and now they see Michelle's end as well.
I wonder what gave the police that hunch to be like, okay, like let's go through her text messages and look at their records, because anytime like I feel like police officers deem a situation as a suicide, it's like a immediate open and closed case. Like there's nothing else that like goes on. Like it's just, that's it. A suicide is a suicide, and they keep it pushing once they come to the conclusion that it was in fact a suicide. And I don't know, like maybe it'll explain this in this episode. What gave them the hunch to be like, okay, let's look at the girlfriend's cell phone, or let's look at the girlfriend's messages and let's have her turn over her phone. Like I wonder what triggered that for the police to be like, okay, let's have her give her phone up. You know what I mean?
Volume of text messages were released, and suddenly it was revealed what had actually happened. Until those last days before he committed suicide, Michelle Carter appears to be very supportive. All the text messages are filled with love and support and encouragement. She wants him to get help. She reminds him of what's good in his life. And she also reminds him pretty frequently of how much she cares for him as well. So that's what's so heartbreaking about this, is that all of a sudden we start to see a change. We start to see suddenly Michelle takes a different tactic in dealing with Conrad's depression and his darkness.
What the fuck?
Michelle actually was encouraging him, just Google it. Just Google generators. Find out how to do it. Not only pushing him emotionally, but giving him practical means and practical help to make it happen. There are moments in the days leading up to when he committed suicide that he seems to have doubts. He actually talks about his guilt, and he doesn't want to hurt his sisters. He doesn't want to hurt his family. He doesn't want them to feel depressed or to feel guilt. And Michelle actually tells him they'll be fine. She'll help take care of them. They'll move on. She continues to press him. And this is going on for 4 to 5 days before he actually committed suicide. So by the time we get to...
This sounds like a manipulation tactic. Like, obviously they already mentioned that this girl struggles with mental health as well. And I always felt like, even growing up, I've always struggled with mental health as well, as far as depression and anxiety, and I always found it really draining to be friends with somebody who also suffers with mental health issues. Like, yes, we can connect and talk about things, and it's like trauma bonding over like depression, and like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, if you are a product of your environment. If you surround yourself with people who also struggle mentally, it's just piling negative energy on top of negative energy on top of negative energy, and then it like just will swallow you up. You have to, like, the saying opposites attract is a saying for a reason, for multiple reasons, and also for this situation. I refuse to surround myself with people who like don't push me and don't motivate me, and I'm not saying like I have to have people that do that, but I just find it more supportive to have like friends who don't enable the side of my mental health, who kind of help give me some type of motivation to get me out of bed, to focus on healthy habits and being like, oh, go to the gym, let's meal prep. Like, if you suffer and you also have a friend who suffers, you guys are just gonna be super depressed and super negative together. So I just feel like these two, and I could be wrong, these two were just kind of feeding off of each other. And I also feel like this girl is clearly really sick to like push him to like don't tell somebody who's suicidal to actually kill themselves, because then what are you gonna do when they actually kill themselves? You should always take suicidal threats or ideation serious no matter what. Like, don't joke about it, because this is what's gonna happen. This is your outcome. I didn't even finish the rest of this, but I'm pretty sure she's in prison. It's like manslaughter, exactly. The texting manslaughter. I get it now. It's all, the pieces are connecting on why it's called the texting manslaughter.
July 12th. Her first text comes at like 4 a.m. And it's something like, did you do it? Because again, she's to a point where she's almost daring him. And over the course of the day, she continues to say, have you done it? What are you doing? Just go to the parking lot. And the texts turn into 2 phone calls, 2 pivotal phone calls. We don't have a transcript of what was said in those phone calls, but we believe that during one of those phone calls, based on what investigators found, is when he committed suicide and when he actually died. It's later when she texts her friend and she very clearly and definitively explains what happened, that she was on the phone with him and that he got out of the truck and she told him to get back in.
Wait a minute. I have yet to sleep today, so I'm running on fumes. I was on the phone with him and he got out of the car because it was working and he got scared, and I fucking told him to get back in Sam because I knew he would do it all over again the next day. This is actually insane. It's control. She literally was feeding an ego that she had to control him. And just like that random statement about her texting him and being like, I will look out after your family, I will take care of them. Like, it's a control thing. This is sick. This is sick. This is narcissism, 110%. On top of whatever else she's dealing with. Like, they both needed fucking help. Expeditiously, too.
I think many people very instantly judged Michelle Carter for being evil, for being a villain. And no one could understand why in the world she would do this. We'd never seen a case like this where someone was being held accountable for their text messages. And someone was being charged with involuntary manslaughter when she wasn't even present for the death itself.
I cried a lot.
The family has since read every text.
Do you think there could be any excuse for the actions?
It's inconceivable. I just don't understand how someone could do that.
Her words are not protected, Your Honor. Her words are harmful, offensive, and likely to cause an immediate violent act. She stays on the phone with him to ensure that he's dead.
If you can imagine Conrad's family and the community all thinking that Michelle is a heartbroken girlfriend, all of that seems like a fraud. Every turn of the story was always in the headlines.
I'd like Ms. Carter to take the witness stand, please.
In an unexpected move, the defendant, Michelle Carter, is called to the witness stand, the Plainville woman waiving her right to a jury trial.
He's better off going with the judge who's going to focus on the law, as opposed to a jury that might be more swayed by the emotion of this case.
The prosecution really portrayed Michelle Carter as someone who was doing all of this deliberately in order to get attention.
All you have to do is turn on the generator and you will be free and happy. Who would do this and why? It suggests the evidence will show that the defendant was a very needy person who craved attention.
It was quite startling when you listened to the opening statements from the prosecution to talk about a teenager in that way. I mean, typically we're used to hearing prosecutors and defense attorneys and judges talk about adults, but this was a 17-year-old girl.
You get to the beach, what's his demeanor like? How's he acting?
Normal.
Conrad Roy's younger sister testifying today she saw no warning signs in the hours before his suicide. Her testimony helping the prosecution prove that suicide was not Conrad's idea, and his girlfriend, Michelle Carter of Plainville, talked him into going through with something he'd attempted nearly 2 years earlier.
The defense really focused on the idea that Conrad Roy committed suicide and that he made the choice. That Michelle, although she was sending these text messages, she wasn't present. She didn't put the tools in his hands to do it.
She was dragged into this.
The medical examiner found that the cause of death for Conrad Roy was suicide, which was also another factor. How do you bring an involuntary manslaughter case when the cause of death is suicide?
There is no statute in Massachusetts outlawing suicide. There is no statute in Massachusetts saying it is against the law to assist or help in a suicide.
The defense attorney also focused on Michelle's mental health, trying to repeatedly remind the judge that she was a troubled teenager herself and that she never had the tools to counsel or to manage a friend or a boyfriend who was suffering the way Conrad was suffering. The judge decides to give an explanation for his decision and for his verdict, but he hasn't told us what that verdict is.
Michelle Carter dropped her head into her hands and sobbed.
He spoke of it continually. He secured the generator.
But when Judge Lawrence Moniz finally announced his verdict,
Ms. Carter, please stand.
Carter stood silent and composed.
And his family members are bracing. And I believe that Michelle Carter thinks she's going to be found not guilty.
Ms. Carter, please stand.
I believe that Michelle Carter thinks she's going to be found not guilty.
This court, having reviewed the evidence and applied the law thereto, now finds you guilty.
It was a very dramatic verdict reading.
Guilty of involuntary manslaughter, not because of the barrage of text messages Carter sent to Conrad Roy in the months leading up to his death, the judge said, but rather because after Roy's pickup filled with carbon monoxide from a generator and he got out, Carter told him over the phone to get back in, then did nothing except listen to his final breaths.
She doesn't call for help. She's aware of the toxic environment in the truck. She's aware of what's happening, and she doesn't do anything.
This has been
It'd be one thing, like, couples fighting or whatever, and it's one thing for them, for, like, your partner to be mad at you and be like, I hate you, kill yourself. It's words versus actions. Like, this girl is, and I'm not saying she had a fucking gun to his head, like, he's still, you know, an adult, low-key, and can make decisions for herself. However, when he's already struggling and you know, his mental health isn't there and he's sick and he's taking advice from somebody that he just trusts and loves clearly, and he just, you know, he obviously didn't have other support to lean on when he already feels this way, so he's gonna lean on somebody who he feels connected with and trauma bonded with. Not helping the situation. Again, she didn't have a fucking gun to his head, but she also was manipulating him into thinking that this is the right thing to do, and his mind is already struggling, so he just accepted the crumbs, like, you know? This is a very fucked up situation. Like, they both needed mental health bad.
Very tough time for our family, and we'd like to just process this verdict that we're happy with.
She was sentenced to 15 months in prison, so she remained free for some time before her appeals ran out.
She gets to go home tonight into her nice home, and whatever, she got to stay in Massachusetts, she could be at Six Flags tomorrow. You know, what kind of justice is that?
That is true. It's fucked up.
Ms. Carter will now be taken into custody.
A year and a half after being convicted of involuntary manslaughter in a landmark case over...
I don't even like to judge like this, but you guys ever watched Orange is the New Black? Hold on. Doesn't she look just like this girl, but with blonde hair? Hold on, I don't know if y'all can see it. Doesn't she look just like her? Hold on, I'll show you a picture of her with blonde hair. She looks literally identical to her. Don't she kind of look like her? I'm bugging. Maybe I'm bugging.
For text messages, Michelle Carter is now behind bars at the Bristol County Jail.
This is the day that we've been looking forward to coming to an end of our involvement in this case. We feel that justice has been served.
They got Justin Bieber going to prison now.
She was released in January of 2020. In the end, because of good behavior, she served a little bit under a year. I'll be very...
Oh, these things piss me off because I'm not even trying to bring race into the equation, but just hear me out, hear me out. Don't come at me. I know how the internet loves to tussle. You know what I mean? But she got charged with an involuntary manslaughter case, right? She got charged with it. I don't, listen, involuntary manslaughter, and she served less than a year in prison. The judge was like, listen, like, this is the charge you're getting. And then she got out an under a year for good behavior from a fucking manslaughter charge. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Imagine if she was black. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you, let's continue.
Curious to see how it impacts Michelle Carter's life. What will she be able to do in life without people knowing what happened?
I was very surprised that Michelle was found guilty because of the way that the law was written at the time and is still written in Massachusetts.
Her fucking caterpillar eyebrows are pissing me off, bro.
Bruh.
Massachusetts, it is still not illegal to coerce someone or encourage someone to commit suicide in Massachusetts.
I would like to make one thing clear. Conrad's law has nothing to do with seeking justice for my son. This law has everything to do with preventing this from happening again to others who are struggling with mental illness.
Okay, so look, this is my whole thing. I know this law just went into effect, right? Like after this situation happened. Conrad's law would set a maximum sentence of 5 years for those guilty of suicide coercion. So you I can't pronounce shit. You coerce somebody to, like, with ill intentions, hurt themselves, because clearly, like, if you're in your right state of mind, you're not going to tell somebody to you're not going to give them a step-by-step on how to fucking kill themselves. That's insanity. Maximum sentence of 5 years. This girl did what she did, and obviously the laws weren't put into place or whatever, but it's like she still got hit with a fucking manslaughter charge, okay? Involuntary, whatever, cool. Under a year. Again, I see both sides. She didn't have a gun to his head. I already said it multiple times, but she low-key held his hand and guided him off the edge, off the cliff. She literally grabbed his hand, gave him a step-by-step guideline, and manipulated him to jump off the bridge, aka, you know, the carbon monoxide poisoning. But that's really what it comes down to. Like, this situation is so fucked. Like, I don't know, man. Had not passed Conrad's law.
The case was incredibly depressing and disturbing. And I think anyone who...
Let's see if it's passed, because we're in 2025 now, so this is a whole 2 years later. I mean, the most soonest thing that I could see is September 7th, 2024. The proposed Conrad's law would make coerced suicide illegal in the Commonwealth and set penalties. But it's, as of right now, the Conrad's law has still not been passed yet. That's, I don't know.
Knows a teenager or anyone who really has a phone had to take pause and think about the sort of messages that we send each other and the impact those messages have.
She's right, because you have to remember, even when I hate texting, like, you either call me, FaceTime me, I have to be able to hear your emotions, because people could text you and be like, sorry for the sensitive topic, and be like, kill yourself, LOL. And you don't know if they're like being dead serious or they're trying to be funny or like what the case is. Like, obviously there's gonna be more context through text messages, but it's just hard because 70% of communication is body language. And if we're texting through the phone, you don't see that other person. You don't know like what emotion comes with what they say. Like, it's just harder. It just really is harder to really communicate in that way. I don't know, but I'm always, and digital footprints is a real thing. You have to be so fucking careful about what you say and what's put out there. Okay, you know, you take a picture of your butthole and you send it to somebody and they screenshot it and they send it to 10 other people. Now your butthole's out there forever. Trust me, I would know. This happened to me back in 2019.
Huh?
Now there's pictures of my asshole out there. Anyways, I digress. Let's continue.
Every step is filled with a purpose. Every step is for his boy who loved the water he called Coco, and for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
I'm doing it just because, and I think he might be proud of me, to do this for him. And, just like, and I'm doing this because, like, I don't want anyone to go through the pain that, like, I had to deal with. Especially losing a son and losing a son to suicide is the worst thing imaginable. And if just raising money for this foundation can just save one life and stop the pain that I've had to deal with, it would definitely be worth it.
I get it, what he said at the end. I really felt that. Eventually I'll get in bigger detail about suicide and how it's affected me in my life. Losing somebody very close to me to suicide. It does suck losing somebody who takes their life with their own hand. It's like losing a parent, a child, a friend, a significant other, to the act of suicide is so painful, because at least like if you know your like grandma has cancer, or your mom is sick, and you kind of have some type of time to like get to say goodbye to them. But suicide is so unexpected. It's just so unexpected. Obviously, other things like a car accident or a boat incident or whatever, some things can happen that are unexpected, but it's like those are also just literally accidents. Suicide is a choice, and it breaks my heart, like that what if feeling. For instance, like say your brother committed suicide, and it's just like, what point made you want to take it there? Like, what hurt you so bad that you thought suicide was the only option? You were taking a temporary feeling and making a permanent decision off of it. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. And life works in a full circle. This is what I mean, what I said in the beginning of the video. Your emotions come and go, okay? Happiness isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's a feeling and it's emotion. People think, oh, if I do this, if I touch $1 million, I'll finally be happy. If I buy a Range Rover, I'll finally be happy. If I get another dog, I'll be happy. But like, we always want more as humans. We crave progression. And it's just like, you have to make you feel happy along the way of reaching those goals, of reaching those milestones. Not every day is gonna be linear. Like, it's gonna go like up, and then you're gonna be plateauing, and then it's gonna go up again, and then it's just gonna drop, and you're back 1,000 steps back again, down. But it's like, you have to take your days day by day, and if you can't do that, take it hour by hour, and if you can't do that, take it by 20 minutes every 20 minutes, you know, and sleep on it. I don't know, man. Suicide is really hard. It's really hard to understand, and not one brain is the same. All brains are super complex, and yeah. That's my spiel. Thank you. Anyways, y'all, thank you for watching another video. I am super tired. It is 9 o'clock in the morning. I have yet to sleep. I just wanted to do a little reaction video and get something out by tonight before, so hopefully my YouTube algorithm will be more on point. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching me and supporting me, and I love you guys. Bye.